If you can say you don't need to go to that third-party tool to do 90%, which I believe is probably accurate, of the collaborative activities you normally go to do that in that tool, and you could do that inside of a channel flow or a conversation flow or in an email, why would why wouldn't that be more dominant as a collaboration medium than going to those other tools and collaborating there?
Lead is a remote-first company based out of Canada.
What makes a world-class Microsoft 365 intranet and digital workplace?
It's really important, and I can't express this enough. Microsoft Loop matters. So today, I would argue that collaboration experience is very team-centric. And I would argue that's good, right? I've given a lot of reasons why I think that's a positive thing. If we embrace it, we lean into it, if we plan around it, that can be a very good outcome for us. What I would argue in the future is that we're going to have a Teams and Loop-centric collaboration space. And this is important because in my example here in the top, you see an example in the top middle of it's a record, entity record, which is something called an opportunity in Dynamics. And what that does is it allows us to update that Dynamics record, right, all in a collaborative, conversation flow, or inside of Outlook in an email flow, and so on and so forth. This idea of being able to collaborate where I am and to have that collaborate auto connect across these experiences is certainly valuable, but it's more, think about the development angle of this and why it's really important long term. If you can say you don't need to go to that third-party tool to do 90%, which I believe is probably accurate, of the collaborative activities you normally go to do that in that tool, and you could do that inside of a channel flow or a conversation flow or in an email, why wouldn't that be more dominant as a collaboration medium than going to those other tools and collaborating there? So this is the real reality. It's not just Loop as it is today and how it's been announced, but it's Loop in the future that really changes the focus of collaboration. Because now it's not just that we're able to collaborate in real time with high velocity, in chats and things like that and email, but now we can actually collaborate on business data, on business applications and more, all without leaving the context of that work. And this is an important distinction because where I said earlier, I think long-term Teams will be very successful because other vendors will build it into their apps. Loop will be successful in the same way because other vendors will want to be in this experience, right? They'll want to be a member of this experience. And so I think when we think of our employee experience and collaboration journey, one of the goals, the outcomes that we really want to get to is when this really starts to become accessible to us, you can play with it now, by the way, when it becomes more accessible to us in a broader way, that's when we want to already kind of be ready for it. A lot of the other things I already mentioned, we're already in place. We've already made progress on it because this is going to be an accelerant for being more efficient, more productive, and more successful in a competitive landscape driven by collaboration. And it's, Loop is 100%, it's a collaboration innovation, right? So this is something that I think, we should all be paying very close attention to. Another key comment that I'd make here is I find a lot of customers focus on too much on trying to get a collaboration journey and experience for everyone. And it's much better to focus on a small subset of users and really accelerate their collaboration journey, improve the way they use. Half of the things I mentioned today are only for a small percentage of super users that really are going to get the full benefit of those collaboration experiences. But if we empower them with those collaboration experiences, the ROI will be very significant because they're the ones who contribute so much, not just to like our standards and our baselines and our expectations internally, but also literally to the value of IP and the value of what collaboration creates as outcomes. So something else to think about is, focus on the ones that, and you have insights with Viva Insights and other things that can actually tell you who these people are. And then of course, plan all of this out, right? So don't just think about like intranets and other things like that, as things that should have journeys and plans. If you were in the previous part of the session, we talked about the future of communications. Here we need to think about the future of collaboration, and for that, we need to have a plan as well. So when and how are we going to bring, topics online, and how are we piloting that? Are we starting with intranet teams and then moving out from there? How are we going to deal with things like, HR experiences like employee onboarding, and how do we target new employees with all sorts of different ways to advance their collaboration that might not be as applicable for long-term employees, right? So there's or employees who've been here for a while. So there's a lot of things there that we can do to improve, and we really need to plan for them.